friends. Welcome to the Daily Inch.
Oh, hello.
While I'm away researching Murder Mile, here's a little treat to keep you entertained over the next 3 weeks. 15 little stories which are fun, rambly, informative, but not essential to listen to. Each story's been written and presented in a tongue-in-cheek way and are not for the easily offended. Murder Mile returns on Thursday the 3rd of November 2022. But until then, there's this. Number 5. With all the rage of a snail. Everyone has a temper, a reason to snap and a need to lash out when something goes wrong. We all have a breaking point. For some people, it's the big things which really make us lose our rag. Like when we lose our rag. Especially when the rag in question is one of Wonderful Eva's very own diamond-encrusted hankies, which she uses to discreetly dab at her lovely, if slightly sick-spattered lips, having sunk enough flaming Jaeger bombs to sink the Bismarck. Why? Because she's well classy. Or it's the small things in life which really get our goat. Like when someone gets us a goat as part of a really shitty birthday present. I mean, what a stupid present. You can't see it, you can't hear it, you can't milk it, and you can't even visit it. All you get is a photo of a goat. It could be any goat, and a sheet of paper informing you that your present has been given to someone else who you don't know in Africa. I mean, I know there's the whole altruistic feeling we're meant to be getting by thinking, ooh, well done me. As a pampered, privileged Westerner, I can feel slightly smug, as instead of getting a PlayStation for my birthday, I've supposedly helped feed an African family, simply because today represents the day I emerged from a vagina. But how do I even know if A, this African village actually wanted a goat, B, they're not allergic to goats and the whole village are currently sneezing and rubbing their eyes like 20 stockbrokers in a nightclub bathroom, or C, that they've now got so many goats that every receptacle in their village is brimming with so much goaty tit juice that they bathe in the bloody stuff and have turned my goat, who I technically paid for, into a nice succulent curry. You don't know that, do you? You know what? Sod the fake lordship of a piss patch in the Highlands, or the pretend ownership of a piece of the moon. Just give me a pot of curried goat, and I'm as happy as Larry. Unless, of course, Larry is the goat. That satire on white privilege was brought to you by shitpresents.com. Anyway, I digress. But funnily enough, this is a story about someone who lost their temper over a pet. Back in the glory days of 2015, pre-COVID, pre-lockdown, pre-recession, pre-Bojo the piss-poor Prime Minister, and whichever sack of shit is leader this week, 28-year-old Kimberly Burns was living with her parents in a nice little family home in Maida Vale, West London. And to the side was a nice little garden. Sadly, life wasn't always wine and roses in the Burns household, as Kimberly had a foul temper. She shouted, she swore, and with her mum often as the target of her abuse, in April 2015, Kimberly was convicted of common assault and received a caution for battery. In short, when she was drunk, she often had a very short fuse. On the 12th of September 2015, while Kimberly was out enjoying the sun through the usual thick London smog, she found a snail. Oh no, a snail in a garden. Who'd have thought it? Anyway, it wasn't a particularly amazing snail. It didn't speak French, it didn't do impressions, and having no legs it couldn't dance the conga. but it could slither about a bit, which I'm told is the basic entry requirements at Snail School. A pet snail. Now, honestly, how could something so small lead to violence? It's an effing snail! The problem was that, not being a specialist in snail habitats, Kimberly's pet snail hated his new home. I mean, the decor was nice, the salad box was well stocked, and I'm sure they had a nice 60-inch colour TV for him to watch Springwatch on. But central heating has a tendency to turn a nice wet snail into a not-so-nice dead snail. I mean, I'm no snail expert either, but when was the last time you saw a snail chilling on the sofa, wearing slippers, drinking cocoa, and wrapped in a tiger onesie to keep warm? Never. They like splashing in puddles and getting slithery in the soil. So for us, it's not a surprise that, having grumbled about the heat and ran out of factor 50, the snail had buggered off back to his nice cool garden. But when Kimberly returned and found that our pet snail had gone, ooh, she lost her shit. Big style. So big that she might as well have purchased a Zeppelin and emblazoned on it the words, "I have lost my shit." Thank God she didn't have a goat or a pet rag, am I right? But instead of guessing that the animal had left this superheated hellhole of its own volition, she blamed her mother and proceeded to call her every name under the sun. And even though her mother was recovering from back surgery, she proceeded to attack her in a fashion described as ballistic. When her dad intervened, Kimberly headbutted him in the face, bloodied his nose, and rightly he called the police. Not so the helicopter could search for the snail, but to have his daughter arrested. In October 2017 at Westminster Magistrates Court, having pleaded guilty to 2 charges of assault by beating, Kimberly Byrne was given a 12-month community order, 6-month alcohol treatment, and ordered to complete 100 hours of unpaid work. In a statement, her dad would say he didn't feel comfortable with Kimberly coming back to the flat as he was scared of what she would do. But during the hearing, her mum burst into tears in the gallery and sobbed, "We desperately want her home." As of today, the whereabouts of the snail is currently unknown. The Daily Inch returns next week. And of course, your regular episodes of Murder Mile return on Thursday the 3rd of November, or 3 days earlier via Patreon. Thank you.